makes sense.
Yeah. So,
What's up, dude?
Chilling, man.
How you doing?
Holding together.
What do you go by? What's your name? I'm just kidding.
I'm
Introduce
Jack.
yourself. Okay,
I go by The
yourself.
Thought. I'm part of the Black Noise Collective out of Pomona, California.
We just had an actual Black Noise member who just leave right now.
Yeah, PJ.
PJ. This shit was
Infinity
cool.
Chakras.
He mentioned you like I think twice.
Aw, thanks, PJ.
Yeah, he said he loved you.
Aw, he's a sweetheart.
He is. He really is. He's a great person to be around, man. I love being around his energy.
Oh man, I was just watching The Raid 2. Have you ever seen that movie? It's like this Thailand fighting movie.
No.
PJ's in it.
Wait, I was gonna say
He's got a doppelganger in that movie. It's really funny.
You're going somewhere with that. Wait, where's it filmed in? Japan?
Thailand.
I was gonna say if it was in Japan, we were just talking about Japan.
It's called the Raid 2 Redemption.
Is it really a movie?
Yeah. It's a really dope film.
yeah.
Like it's a super famous action movie. But there's
Talking to the mic just in case. I don't.
There's a guy in the movie who looks almost exactly like PJ, just has the same kind of stature and the same hair and
dreads
like,
and everything.
Yeah, and he's like one of the badass fighters in the movie, and he's like, there's a bunch of great scenes of him like almost stabbing the main character. It's just awesome. When I was watching it, I was like, what the fuck, PJ? How'd you get to Thailand?
Do that again in that voice one more time.
What the fuck, PJ? How'd you get to Thailand?
Jack, aka The Thought, the master of the voices. He actually does have some very nice vocal range.
Aw, thanks, man. I appreciate that.
Very soulful, very jazzy, very hip hop-ish.
Mm-hmm.
I try.
If I could describe your music, I think that would be very hip, soulful, jazzy, and obviously hip hop. Yeah, I think that's how I would describe your music.
I could feel that, yeah.
How would you describe your music?
Like that's about right. Like soulful, jazzy, hip hop, but like that's just one side of it. I think the projects I'm about to drop should kind of change a little bit of that perspective.
Okay, so we're talking about projects.
Interesting.
What's coming? What's up? What's next?
Well, the next thing I'm dropping is It's Not What You Think. That's coming out on
I saw that.
May 31st.
Soon. I saw
I'm
the
dropping
date.
that at the end of the month. So that's 2 weeks from yesterday.
Ooh, how would you? I guess since you say change from Food for Thought and what's the other one? I have it in my room. The third 40 track project you dropped.
That's Food for Thought.
Food for Thought. Yeah, there you go.
Thinking Paris the Thought with the more recent one?
That's what I was thinking. I was like, I know there's another one with that. How would you say? You said different or change the perspective.
I don't want to give away too much of like my approach on this project because I'm really trying to play off that name of It's Not What You Think. I'm trying to subvert the expectation.
I think this would be dropped afterwards, the 30th, or before the 30th. What do you think? When is this episode going to drop? Before or after? Hold up.
I would say after.
My bad. I shrunk the mic.
There we go.
Lefty Lucy, righty tights is right?
That's right.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. Sorry.
So, well, this podcast might be dropped afterwards, but you don't have to say anything.
Okay. If the podcast is coming out after or within that week or something, then the short notes of it would be it's kind of like a trap project, like front to back. The slowest BPM on the project is 130, so it's all like 130 to 170 kind of BPM. It's very fast. It's very different from what most people I think are expecting from me. And the one I'm most excited to see, there's actually two I'm most excited to see what people think, which are this track called Vámonos.
Vámonos?
It's the first time I've done a hook in Spanish, so I'm excited to see how that goes over. And then the last track on the project is a Nipsey Hussle tribute.
I'm excited for that.
Yeah, it's called Costa Keeping Real.
I'm really looking forward to that to see how you go about that. I mean, the Vámonos one, obviously, I'm really looking forward to that. But the Nipsey Hussle tribute, I really want to see what you particularly do with that. Because I know you're going to do something extravagant that I probably haven't heard anyone do in regards to Nipsey Hussle.
Yeah, I'm hoping no one's really hit it the way I'm hitting it.
Yeah, I feel like you're going to hit it on some other shit.
I had some help from, Xavier.
X?
Yeah, X.
Yeah.
And then, do you know Smith the Poet? Have you met him?
Yeah, I know Smith the Poet.
He's from your area.
Yeah.
He and I are actually working on a collab album too. He's like,
I saw that you guys are working a lot together.
He's the homie, yeah. But he's on the Nipsey Hussle tribute as well.
Oh shit!
I had help from both of them on like helping get the point across. But yeah, it's essentially like the tag note of it is the cost of keeping real, no bullets for the fake.
Yeah, that's deep.
Yeah, you don't get shot being a fake motherfucker. You get shot for keeping it straight with people and
You
being
do
honest.
Yeah.
because people don't like the honesty and the truth
Yeah,
behind it
and
all.
that's what cost that good man his life, and it's just it's crazy. So that's just kind of like the
Rest in
short
peace.
short and sweet of that. Yeah, rest in peace
Rest
for
in
sure.
peace to the great Nipsey, man. That's like when Tupac passed, obviously I wasn't, I had no conscious idea, awareness of the impact he had. So when Nipsey passed, it's like it was hard to process
Yeah.
because you just listen to his music one day to the next. Your roommates text you and say, "Hey, he's shot." And how did
Like,
you just took a big old breath? How did you hear about it, and how did you go about not coping, but how did you go about? Because everybody and anybody who listens to music or hip hop or just knows
anyone involved in the
you're
culture
involved
is
with the
gonna
culture,
feel
you're gonna
that.
feel this
Yeah.
heavy. How did you? Like I said, where were you, and how did it make you feel, and how have you grown in the sense from that?
Well, to answer a little bit backwards, the growth, I think, number one, is my respect and understanding of Nipsey Hussle as an artist. I am
Yeah.
not
Same
going
here.
to come
Yeah.
on here in front like I've always been a Nipsey Hussle
not-
fan.
I-
I
Same here.
am someone
Same
who
here.
has slept on him consistently. I listened to his most recent project, Victory Lap, and I liked a lot of what was on there, but it's not quite for me.
Yeah.
At least that's what I thought. Going back and listening to his music in conjunction with like his interviews and what he
Yeah,
has to
it
say about
changes
like
everything.
business acumen and what he has to say about like buying back the hood and making sure that everything goes back to the right people. And then you listen to his music and you start catching those gems. He reminds me of like the points that Jay-Z was trying to make on 444 coming from a dude 20 years his junior on his first major project. And it's really
That's
impressive that he's
very-
doing something
yeah.
like that. You know what I mean? So it's like I feel naive and stupid for having slept on the man, but I do, I guess, in a way, appreciate having been given a chance to really come to appreciate him the way I have after his passing, which is a sad circumstance to cause
And-
that. You know what I mean?
And going off what you said as well too, like I also been naive with his music. I remember D Will played like a couple of his albums um while we were either just going about either the next show or what we had to take on. And for me, like I definitely respect what he did as an individual, as a businessman, and what he was also trying to do and accomplish. And yeah, like when I heard he died, yeah, it was one of those where like, oh man, not him, because
Yeah.
he was doing a lot.
A lot. I don't think I'm in the same boat. It's like I didn't even really until like the past probably 2 years. You hear the name, but it wasn't until like 2 years ago or within the last 2 years where I actually like put the name to the face and everything else that he's done. And it's interesting because, like you said, the whole concept where you're going with with the song, it's so unfortunate that somebody like that who is trying to do something better has to take, the bullet because it's alarming and it's breathtaking. I think the next day I felt like the world just kind of was numb.
Oh yeah, once
Man.
again, as someone who's not even a huge fan, I spend the entire next day like looking into what the man stood for, what he did, listening to his music, like watching the videos of all the different security cameras of the situation to like see if I could like figure out what I wanted to parse together the situation. It was disconcerting for me, even as someone living in Pomona, like 60 miles away. You know what I mean? I was
Yeah.
just watching it on the news, like, holy fuck. This is someone who meant a lot to his community, getting
Yeah.
gunned down over something that we found out is as trivial as it gets. He told some dude, "You shouldn't be here this
shouldn't be
soon.
here."
That means you're a narc. Get the fuck home."
And then what happens?
He got killed. The Sakasa keeping real.
It's crazy. People,
Yeah.
oh man, damn. Like yeah, it's like right now it's hard to speak on.
Yeah.
It's like,
E-
damn.
Even to the point, even the cops were sad themselves as well
Yeah.
too.
Oh man, watching the police commissioner tearing up on television and like not even looking like he's bullshitting, like looking authentically hurt that this man was
and
gone.
they
It's
were
just like
supposed to meet on the next day too.
the very next the universe doesn't want us to come together. We gotta fight that. We gotta fight that. That's some trash.
Yeah, because it's like even the commissioner stated, like, imagine if this was just like 1 day sooner. Like, why couldn't we have got this meeting 1 day sooner than his passing? Man,
Because the impact of that meeting could have been incredible.
it could have changed the whole dynamic of gang affiliation between both gangs, police department being
The other gang.
the other gang.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
That's the one that gets slept on.
it does get slept on.
Yeah,
man,
well,
that was
hugely.
That was the thing that the day after though of the shooting, you know how there was that huge visual that where things were like kind of popping off and there was like
Yeah.
scurries and stuff where like no one really got like hurt,
No.
but there was like people freaking out and stuff
Yeah.
that whole day. Man, when I was watching all that, the way the cops were showing force on some of those live streams with like the whole of Slauson with like 80 fucking squad cars down it right next to that building. And like the NOI tried to show up too with their troops, and it was like 100 people, and they were getting swarmed by the cops. It was crazy. The live streams that night were nuts, and like, I was off mushrooms that night, just watching those live streams, just like, bruh, it's gonna be LA riots, and I was surprised it didn't crack off. But it goes to show like what that dude stood for, that there was able to be any piece out of that tension.
And that goes to show you how powerful one man can be when you really take that positive route in a dark situation. Because he was bringing people together that shouldn't have been brought together. And I think that's the biggest fear a lot of people have. We know, like the gang, like the police officers or the higher authority or the government, whenever we want to go there, that's probably the missing component to everything else.
I feel that.
To expanding us as a people, as a culture, is a unity of whether that be gangs or whether that just be territory or whether that just be people or that just be culture. That is the missing link to creating a whole different wave. But obviously there's certain people who don't want that wave of a new to happen, unfortunately.
I feel that. Yeah. I think one of the most important things to take away from all this is that like you will be remembered if you put back into the people.
Oh yeah,
and that will go. That goes a long way
It does.
towards how people view you and how your legacy can impact the world.
Yes.
It's like if you are consistently going back out into the people and trying to give what you can back to them
Yup.
and thank them for how they fed you, it goes a million miles. And yeah, I'm trying to build something right now to help put the IE on because there ain't enough like. What's the word? Infrastructure out there.
There
to
isn't.
put artists and creatives
I think
in
the
positions where they
IE
can support themselves. You know?
There isn't the Allen Empire. I think because we were talking about PJ loves this facility. This we're in right now.
This is beautiful.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
I was telling him now.
There ain't one of
imagine-
these in Pomona.
Yeah, what was that?
There ain't one of these in
There's
Pomona.
not.
Imagine if there were.
I totally made like I kind of made a comparison was like what the hub of black noise is equivalent to what this is for you guys, not to this.
I see what you mean. Like
it's-
we can all utilize that house
Yeah.
in a similar way to how you guys utilize this
Yeah.
space, but it's definitely not the same because
It's
it's like
not.
a professional
Yes.
space where it's like all sorts of business.
But I was trying to.
I appreciate the point though.
The scale. How do you scale something that's obviously two different measures? That's why I was like, I think the biggest the comparison would be what Mosnraf has created with that house.
I feel that.
So for this, and then like going back, it's like how do we expand that into the Inland Empire? Because whether this is a creative space for entrepreneurs, because I think artists and technically are entrepreneurs if they really want to go beyond where they're at now, at least in my opinion, you need something like this where we could come together as a culture, as a community, where it's not so much, hey, what are you doing? So, we're all going to be in the same spot. We could get music done faster. We get business done faster. We could do things, and this is a safe space, and this is a space for that, just that and that alone. Only you're here to work. That's it.
Yeah, co-work.
Co-work. Yeah, exactly. So I think that's good that you said that because I'm from Fontana. So you're Montana? No, where are you from?
I'm from Highland Park.
Yeah,
and
Highland
then,
Park.
I grew up most of my life in South Pasadena and Pasadena. I spent a couple years in Montana.
Yeah,
in
that's what I was
college.
doing in Montana. Yeah,
and
college.
I think I picked up a little of like the y'all to my voice, and it kind of makes people think I'm from Montana sometimes because I was out there for like 18, 19. Those are formative adult years. You know what I mean? I kind of picked up some slang, but and I roll cigs sometimes. I have some of those dumb Montana traits that I think I get.
Dumb Montana. Shout out to everybody in Montana.
T-shirts in the snow, all
That's
the works.
crazy. That's wild.
But yeah, the lack of like the come togetherness and the IE is I think something that's gonna kind of I think that's a lot more coming together as far as infrastructure is gonna happen in the next couple of years.
I think what's not there, what it used to be there was common ground.
The Noah's events that were going on at the Vibe, right?
And I think that's the biggest thing that has been taken away from the IE because there's no more. Every Sunday there was a guaranteed spot for hip hop in San Bernardino. It was the Vibe. Whether that was at the Vibe or whether that was at the other location where they relocated, I can't remember right now. But now what Noah did was he allowed other people to learn how to host events. So you have Kai Archer who hosts a Live and Kicking festival. You have other components of people now.
And then Noah's doing bigger events that he's helping put on with
Yeah.
like a DIY festival.
DIY, 60 East.
Yeah,
The
and then
60 East
the
event.
Pursuit of Happiness.
Pursuit of Happiness.
Serious Cartoons is trying to.
Yeah, Serious Cartoons is trying to become the hub. So I think it's the togetherness. I think there's always more room for togetherness.
For sure, but I think the venue thing and having a performance platform is a really important thing. But like, okay, how many artists do you know in like the Inland Empire who have like some kind of moral about selling their music, about like really trying to market their music in a way that they can make a career off of it?
I don't think. I don't
I
know
personally know quite a few.
What are you asking? Like, what's the disconnection there, or are you asking?
Oh, I have a follow up. My follow up is going to be like, how many people do you know that work at like car dealerships, selling things in retail stores and all of that kind of thing that don't get any gratification out of their job?
Oh, okay, I got you.
When I see community unity, I think like we have artists that don't like selling, and we have people that like selling that don't have anything to sell. We need to bring that together, and then you have like painters who are getting their stuff sold for them, and then you have an economy building.
You do
like, and this is the kind of stuff that we need to be
keep going
building in terms of the Inland Empire. I'm working on something called and I brought it back. I brought it up to you back in the day when we were doing our workouts. The Inland Empire distribution. I'm officially like building that right now. I'm getting the LLC in the next couple months. Yeah, that's like really gonna become a thing. It's gonna be merchandise, and I'm trying to do.
You did mention this.
I'm trying to do like an actual like credit line. Let's invest in a select few artists in the IE to like, here's like 10, 20K. Let's record an album and have it only available on this one centralized website. And we're going to do that with 9 artists for the 909 and have that one place put the whole area on.
Because then at the same time, it's like you not so much give the best of the best. It's like you really want to invest in the proper people who are doing it, because obviously you want to make sure you're giving them the proper route. But then if it works really well, the money circulates back into it. Now everybody else has profit. Not so much not profit. We have capital.
Yeah, capital, exactly. And then it's also like, you know, as much as Noah is, you know, as we would say in the IE, he's in our terms, you know, but we don't see like
anyone else.
Empire Records isn't walking up to Noah James tomorrow and saying, here's $25K to do an album just for us that we're going to push like a motherfucker and put you out there.
No, you're right.
Having an Inland Empire based record company come up and just be the one to do that and run that and put that kind of money behind certain creatives and just be like, no, we will make you get the attention that this deserves.
Because the artists, I think the missing thing that we're doing is, I think with Instagram, we have followings, but we don't have fans.
Yeah,
exactly.
Bars, yeah.
Exactly.
It's like it's easy to build up a certain number of thousands on IG, but as far as like getting any of the like dozens of them to show up at a show is a whole different
that's
matter.
a different
Getting
story.
them to actually click on a link and go buy your album on iTunes is a whole different matter.
It's a whole different story. And I was telling my friend, I'm like, I'm at a point where it's like, the numbers look great. Numbers look amazing. I get it. I understand. But at the same time, it's like I told my friends, like, you have people who have great following on Instagram, but when it comes to showtime, where they at?
Yeah.
Where you at? And it's something that I think us as artists too, that we really need to change our mindset of how we view social media. You shouldn't feel wrong for wanting fans. If you're really going to support your lifestyle, support your music and go beyond, you need fans. Because let's just say, I told my friend this, if I have 10,000 followers and I only have 10 fans, and let's just say out of 10,000 followers, maybe 3 people buy something, but I have 10 people who are fans and buy that same thing, what's better for me? The people who are, at the end of the day, the fans. Because they're supporting me.
Those 10 fans are going to do a lot more for you long term than 10,000 people on Instagram that aren't really engaging.
They're not engaged. Man.
Yeah. But the flip side of that is, when it comes to, as you said, your showtime and stuff, when you're getting approached by some of these bigger events and stuff to get shows and stuff, I have like seen homies who work in A&R go to someone's IG, they're less than 5K, and just swipe back. They don't even click your music. They don't even check none of your shit. They don't see nothing of what you stand for. They don't want to see none of what you're doing. You just don't have the follows. So if you can bullshit your way to some of those follows and just get that first filter to take out, you might get the attention that maybe you deserve. Maybe the quality gets some kind of nod. Maybe you get a slot. And so I'm not going to front. I'm using a company to help boost my IG right now. It's just part of it's playing the game, you know?
I was going to say that. It's Noah has a song. I played with the cards. I'm dealt, but I'm gambit with the cards. Yeah, that was the bar. Yeah, it's the truth. It's
Noah's got fucking gems in there, man.
It's cool. The what he raps, like how the word play he uses, but the way he paints the picture, but more importantly, how he just connects the dots with that. Because not a lot of people rap about like Marvel characters and what he raps about, using it towards his music.
The Gambit thing. I mean, I'm not gonna just for my personal like what I've heard in the music industry. I'm not gonna act like Noah James's topics are like, oh, I don't hear anyone touching on this. But what I will say is his beautiful approach to simplicity is
it's simple.
Unparalleled of like any of the homies that I know making music. That dude can say, simple. I am the moon, I am the darkness, and you're looking at him like. Like he's the fucking darkness. This is dude. He's like he will pull you in with simple phrases, and he has so much energy on stage. And the dude's just like a bastion of fucking love. Like
he's amazing to watch.
So like and like the Majin Buu track, I always thought that was funny because and like you can ask him his he can check his SoundCloud messages. I dropped a track that was like Super Saiyan 3, like in the week span of him dropping that track, and this was before we even met each other. Before we were in the same like world. It's just funny how there's like that great minds think alike kind of concept, but that's what I mean about as far as like I'm not gonna say like the topics. I've never heard anyone touch on them, but it's rare. It's definitely rare, and I really appreciate the finesse with which he approaches all of the things he raps about. You know.
No, he does a great job of what he's good at,
and plus him and Lisa are just such a power couple. It's awesome to watch. Like my parents are divorced, but the IE got a married couple running shit. I mean, they might not be. I don't know if they're married.
No, they're not married. But
they give that energy, man.
I've been around them for like at least like a lot the past year and a half. Or no, year and a half and 2 years you could say, and you just pick up so many gems of how like a working couple not only is a couple, but they're also a working couple, a collective couple, a collaborative couple. The levels to their relationship is crazy because it's not just intimacy, it's also running things like how I've gone to when Noah was at a performance out at the Nas Center. I've actually gone and I've seen Lisa, like she'll handle what she needs to handle. Noah will handle what he needs to handle. Pablo will handle what he needs to handle. Brooke will handle what he needs to handle. And it's interesting watching that dynamic because Noah and Lisa are so good together as a relationship, but also as a team that everybody they associate with in that circle also knows the role particularly well, and that's a great thing about them.
They're fantastic at that, like the delegation of responsibility thing. And I think, and if I'm being honest, as far as like Black Noise goes, I think that's one of our biggest weaknesses that we're still developing is like really getting to the point where we're confidently able to delegate like who's great at what, go do that thing you're great at, and all come together.
It's not easy. It's not.
It's not at all
because you have and it's personality traits. Not ego. It's not an ego thing. It's just it's hard if you might think you're great at something, but unfortunately that might not be what we need right now.
Bars.
Yeah. We need you to do this. And if you do this right now,
you're going to have time to do that other thing you want to do later.
And things could work faster because you guys have that's great that you said that because that's hard to say.
Oh, yeah. And like, I mean, I might even piss off some members of the squad by having put it the way I just put it, but I don't mean that as any kind of shame of us. We're still putting things together. We're still a very like baby collective as far as like the grand scheme of things. I want to do this till I'm 60. I've only been doing it a couple years now, so this baby steps.
Well, think about it this way. We had two guests, you and PJ, who are part of, I'm going to put it this way. You have two people that we just got on this podcast that are part of Black Noise. Motion Rap drops how many projects a year? The Zen Soul, they just dropped another project. So Dope was working on that project.
Yep.
You have the Outback podcast. You have the Hip Hop Awareness Festival that's around. You guys just dropped open mic. So it's not like, for you to say that, it shows what needs to be done to get to that next level.
Yeah, and it takes a lot to get to that next level.
It does.
Because like we're already doing a lot, you know what I mean? But it takes a lot. Like that next step, that next few steps is really crucial.
Oh yeah, then like you said, because it's like you've done so much of the big things. It's like now we got to maximize the small things because that in return makes everything else bigger than it really is. And I think the fact that you're able to admit it is how you get things fixed.
That's the mentality I've been trying to take this whole year is like, if I can actually just look at a problem and be like, you know what, that's the problem. then I can actually go, let's fix it.
Yeah.
That's like the addict
Yeah.
mentality. You
No,
know what I
it-
mean? The first step is admitting you have a problem.
Admitting
but
you
like,
have a problem.
sometimes problems can be minor, but it takes a lot of effort to address a minor little fucking thing
But
sometimes.
the minor problem is always what's making the bigger picture bad.
Oh yeah, man.
Yeah.
Like I thought cigarettes were like a no thing kind of problem for me for years, and then I quit and I realized that everything got better, and I was like, huh, those were probably worse for me than I was giving them credit.
Yeah. How long was that? Yeah, how long was a motherfucker? I'm gonna rip them out of your hand and say stop. But no,
You gave me the chance to quit myself though, and I did.
Yeah.
And I'm over a year off. You know what I mean?
and I think at the end of the day, that's more important because I can't force anybody to quit a habit. Neither me too. Like I have habits that I should be doing. Like it's hard. Habits are hard to stop because it's just we get so caught up in just doing it that we neglect it.
Yeah, we got patterns that we live by too. And like,
do.
you know, like it got to a certain point where like waking up and having a cigarette was how I woke up. Like, you know, I'd have dinner and I'd want a cigarette because I needed something to smoke after dinner.
That's not a good pattern.
Slowly becomes built into your actual patterns that are part of your life, and then you intertwine them, and it doesn't feel like you can do one without the other.
And then you lose track of it all. And next you know, it's 5 years deep into smoking and doing this without realizing the harmage it's called because you're just so used to it.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
And like not only smoking, but you know, sedentary living. Like a lot of people
Yeah.
don't get out of the house enough. A lot of people don't move around enough. And it's like my like as far as like cardio activity is not super high right now, but I record in my room for like 4 or 5 hours a day.
For you, that's a lot.
And you bet your ass I'm sweating that whole
You're
damn
sweating.
time.
And I've seen pictures of you coming out of the Dope Spot studio just like
Soaked.
soaked nasty. Like nasty.
Go
like,
switch your shirt.
There's been, when I recorded at the studio, I'm like, wait. When I recorded my project at the studio, I'm like, wait, Jack's been in here a few times. Can I get some Lysol and spray the whole fuck? I'm just kidding. I've never thought or said that. I just figured I might as well say it now because you're here in front of me. It gives me an opportunity to talk shit.
On that note, we're gonna take a quick break and we'll be right back.
That was perfect.
Get your Lysol.
Alright, we're back.
So
Yow.
you want to talk about the? Yeah, go ahead. Talk about the topic. This is the awkward part where it's like, you want to talk about the topic now?
Yeah, sure. Let's go ahead and talk about the topic. So today's topic is how I would say how creatives are not putting their all into it. Well, what I mean by that is, I mean, there's multiple reasons that certain creatives or certain artists are not putting their heart all into it. And I first thought about this theory, I don't know, back in 2005. And an example is like just the way I felt hip hop was going to. I felt like it was going more poppy. Just some of the lyric content was changing, and just the way things were being talked about. Even though the whole money, sex, and drugs message was being conveyed like way, way, way before that. But I felt it was being more prominent, and I felt like the artists that were putting their hearts into their crafts were not getting exposed enough. But I mean, for my example is like just a lot of most of these mainstream artists are what some people will consider hip hop artists. Like I feel like they're not putting their all into it, and I feel like some of them are just doing it for just for the money. In all honesty, but I mean, based on what we kind of talked about earlier too, is like, I mean, there's nothing wrong, like just to keep the lights on to your or to pay the bills, like by all means go ahead and do that. But if you're just doing it just because like, oh, I make X amount, and just flashing it, and just almost, I guess, for lack of a better word, um just flashing it in people's faces and just mocking them, I feel that's just the wrong way to go about it. I don't know, like, I mean, what do you guys think?
I feel that heavily because like I don't know, like I feel like I always felt like the difference between like late 80s 90s hip hop and like early 2000s, like up till 2003 2004, like right before that transition you're talking about, like 04 05, like when it goes from like golden era to the bling era is essentially what a lot of people like break that
Yeah.
down as. Like it's weird because like all the money, drugs, and hoes talk was always like these are the circumstances that the system has forced me into, and this is what I'm able to do within this fucked up system to get what I need.
Right.
And that was always like the energy that all that kind of stuff came with.
Right.
But then it got to like the 2000s, and like all these artists, they didn't need to do any of that, but they were still bragging about it. So all of a sudden, you're just glorifying sex, drugs, and hoes for the sake of glorifying, money, drugs, and hoes. And it's like, there's so much more. There's so much more, especially music-wise, like that you can talk about. There's so much more that you should talk about. And yeah, when I hear someone say that people aren't putting their heart into it, it brings to me personally this new Logic album. I don't know if you've listened to it yet. Confessions of a Dangerous Mind.
I'm not too big on Logic.
Neither am I. And like,
It's hit and miss.
Yeah, exactly. He's always been really hit and miss for me. And like, I thought the Under Pressure project was kind of cool. I thought The Incredible True Story was like all right with like its space themes and stuff, and it had the Toonami voice in it. I thought that was kind of cool. Like he's got some moments, but like this most recent project, it's called Confessions of a Dangerous Mind. And this is fucking Logic, who recently had a whole scandal where he cheated on his girl. His like, his like teen girl, like they've always been together. And then like he's had all these like, scandals going on about like the dumb shit he said and like all that kind of stuff. And this whole album, he doesn't have any confessions. He doesn't confess like, I married her knowing that I might one day cheat on her because she wasn't really my type. I just thought I liked her. Like, he doesn't confess anything. There's no confessions on this whole project. You know what I mean? And it's supposed to be Confessions of a Dangerous Mind. And then, like, all the tracks are going into, like, oh, my haters are doing this. Fuck off. Who cares about your haters, bro? Like, you've been doing all sorts of fucked up, dumb shit for the last couple of years. Address that. Confess why.
That's why I don't like listening to him, because he goes directly, my hater's this. I'm like,
yeah.
You're making me a hater with that.
And it's oh man,
like he's almost contradicting himself.
Yeah, and
I think we're all contradicting ourselves.
On some level for sure. But I think he's a very, very blatant example of someone who's very unawares of like how he really comes across. And like
I just think I don't listen to his music enough to really want to lend an opinion. I just, from what I've heard, Under Pressure, I've heard bits and pieces of that. It sounded like a Kendrick was rapping with a J. Cole voice. Right? Yeah. Do you hear? Yeah.
With a couple Big Sean flows, yeah.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
And I get it. Like, we all have inspiration. Like, I get it. We do. And it was just like I had know too much of Kendrick and J. Cole to really sit here and try to listen to Logic, because I was like, I can't. My mind wasn't processing it enough.
I'm just hearing these other rappers that I like when I hear this guy. And so why am I listening to him? I can listen to those other rappers.
And it's not fair to Logic. It's not fair. I mean, it's just, but that's just what it is.
I mean, you say it's not fair, but like, dude actually be out here biting people's flows. Did you see that clip I posted?
No.
He straight jacked a cadence from Cam Gnarly, bro. He stole from Cam. Like, there's the hook on the song Commando featuring G-Eazy on the new Logic album.
Oh, that's another reason why I want to listen to this album.
Exactly.
Logic and G-Eazy are on the track together?
Yeah, trash.
I'm not going to listen
so
to
bad.
it.
But like, the hook on it sounds exactly like it's in the same pocket, at the same, almost the same BPM, same like hi-hat pattern in the background, and it's the same like lyric pattern as Rain or Shine by Cam. Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to check it out.
Rain or Shine. We
Shout out
grind.
to Cam.
I don't know the words well enough, but yeah, this shit's fine.
I think it was cool because the stuff we were talking about off air was perfect for this segment. I don't think you should be afraid. There's difference. Earlier in the other podcast we talked about your intention and moving with your intention and purpose. If your sole intention and your only purpose for making music is to make profit off of it, cool.
I feel like you're guaranteed to make bad music like that.
Oh, just
for me personally, I feel like I can hear that in your music.
You are, because it's gonna.
You're in a sense selling your soul in it.
Yeah, like, and I can almost hear, like, I put on those the glasses from that one movie with the Obey the aliens. It's like listening to that. I don't remember I think it's like they've arrived. They're with us or something. Like that.
It's like super 80s.
Yeah, super 80s. But like he puts on these sunglasses and he sees through advertisements and it just says consume or obey.
Okay.
It's like a movie like that. But I feel like certain artists, you hear their music and you can literally just hear them saying, stream this song, stream this song, stream this
No,
song, buy my
'cause
tour.
It's a
like,
there's
you
an
hear
actual
it.
there's a formula.
Yeah.
There's a legit, like, if you really get into music and study formulas of how to make money off music, it's there with the chord progression with pop music.
Oh yeah, there's like
Yeah.
5 specific chord progressions that like 80% of popular songs are made from. It's
And
crazy.
and it's easy because it's the thing we were talking about, how people follow people, going back to Nipsey and
Mhm.
also going back to other genres of music, other artists. It's Lil Pump. He made a comment saying that no one's ever done what he's done at this young age of 18.
Hmm?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, sure.
And,
Lil Pump.
right. Yeah, let's not get too into it, right? Because we could go off on that.
Yeah, it's gonna go into an
Nas and Earl
whole-
Sweatshirt is all I have to say on
Yeah,
that.
and now there's a few other components that play into that. Social media is a big play into
Oh,
that. It's a
man.
big factor.
Oh yeah.
But then again, the sheep are going to follow the sheep, right? Like, right?
Yeah.
So if Lil Pump, going back to the idea of if I listen to Lil Pump, I hear his purpose. I get it. Cool. You're in this game. You got your bread. That's all your purpose is. Correct. You're gonna what did J. Cole say? The fake ones the real ones are dying. The fake ones is lit. And it's the real thing, because now it's like, who the artists that we shouldn't listen to are the artists that are profiting the most. Because are they backed up by, is it a propaganda, or is it because they're just following the formula of, this is what's gonna make me successful? Yeah, here we go to no.
I personally don't think there's any like secret group somewhere saying all right,
Illuminati?
I don't think there's anything like that where they're like orchestrating like, okay, we need all of our pop rappers to talk about Xanax this year so we can get more corporate profits.
Right.
That doesn't strike me as realistic.
Yeah.
But a culture of predominantly children raised in a society with an overactive pharmaceutical company where these children are being raised with extreme access to Xanax and other drugs like that.
There's a lot of drugs out there.
Yeah, they're growing up with that, and then their
That's just the
party
culture.
culture is going to develop out of that, and then the music develops out of the party culture. So you wind up having music talking about the drugs that's coming from the party culture practiced by the youth, and that's what it's always been.
Yeah,
like you have
it's-
songs about
it
MDMA
comes
when you know people doing Molly was the party culture at raves and stuff.
Yes.
That's when you get those kind of songs. Cocaine, you get the whole 80s and 90s where people were talking about cocaine and then crack, and it had entirely to do with the fact that that was the party culture. That's the drug that it was starting out of.
And now let's get away from the drugs. Now think of the alcohol.
Oh, and that'll always be the party culture.
Patron.
Oh, right,
remember?
yeah.
Grey Goose got your girl feeling loose. Now Hennessy, Patron. It's like everything
And
that's.
just that phrase alone is like rape culture in a sentence.
We were talking about rape culture earlier
Yeah,
today.
teaching. Yep.
It's a whole fucking thing. And it's like a lot of people get confused on the notion of rape
Damn.
culture.
Let's talk about that. We're gonna talk about that. You okay with talking about rape
Sure,
culture? For a
yeah,
second? I know
bro,
you're
I-
okay talking. You're
Yeah.
more than okay about talking about rape culture. I know that for a fact. Man, okay, are we gonna talk about abortion, rape culture, or
Bruh, we can get in all sorts of shit. But like when it comes to like rape culture in this country, people sleep on how much there's an intertwine between alcoholism and rape culture. Because like
damn?
when I was in high school, and I shit you not, this is not just my experience. I guarantee
There's a lot of
most
people
men
who
that
could
you
agree
know
with this statement.
probably went through a similar situation. They just probably won't admit it because it sounds so dirty. When I was in high school, the explicit directive of going to parties was finding drunk women to fuck.
Yeah.
This is a direct culture.
It's
and
real.
When you think in very nuanced terms, neither party, if they're both under 18 and they're both intoxicated, is really able to consent. So it's mutually fucked up.
Yep.
But like when you are going to the situation with the intent of, I want to find someone who is intoxicated enough to have their guard down and let me inside of them, how is
That's
that
scary.
not coercion? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like,
That's really fucked
in a
up in
fuck,
the head.
yeah, it's fucked.
It
and
is.
It's like I'm guilty of it at 16, but now I can look back with age, and it's like,
Yo.
what the fuck is wrong with the parents of the high school I went? Like, what's wrong with these people?
It's a lot
This was what I
there.
was raised in. You know what I mean? It's weird that that's the case, though.
But at that time, it's interesting because you're like you're not that you're innocent because you're aware, but at the same time, it's like everybody else. It's not everybody else is doing that. I don't want to use that.
It's the culture.
But it's the culture of
Yeah,
it all.
there's hundreds of people doing the same thing at that same party, going for the same reason, and then you expand it beyond that. Like, you know, I don't drink, and
Yes.
and this is part of why. But like you look at that culture, and it's like, okay, if you go to college and you continue to participate in that mindset, you're in the frats or whatever,
Fuck.
you're going to hit 22 or 23 years old still participating in this belief that your way of getting sex
Fraternity
is approaching intoxication. That's your intro. And then go further, and then you look at bar culture. How many people are chilling at the DBA every single night of the week until midnight trying to pick up someone to fuck? Or not at any bar in America. This culture goes far beyond that, and it's like
That's why I don't like going to bars.
so you got men using alcohol as an excuse to lower their ambitions, so they're like curry just enough to walk up to the women they're interested in, and as like a boundary lowered for that. And then on the flip side, and no one wants to admit this, women use it as an excuse to get laid on their backs.
Damn.
No one wants to admit that dirty detail because they want to be able to go, "Oh, I was drunk. That's why I did it."
Damn.
We all want that excuse if we do something stupid when we're drunk.
It's really alarming. It's speechless right now because you really brought moments back when I was in school because I went to Damien, so we had.
Oh yeah, so you went to a school where like that is the culture, yeah. Because I went to like a rich high school too, so you know what I mean.
Oh shit. Oh.
The battery.
Well, we then he said, "Damn." I mean, but no, well, this is still recording audio wise, huh? It's okay if we keep talking then about this subject because it's still on audio.
I'll
Cool.
charge it.
We're gonna have a quick technological detour.
But we're still gonna.
Sorry about that.
What?
About the battery dying.
No, it's
Oh,
cool.
dude,
We still got the
we're
audio.
good.
But no, like it's alarming because people, man, because now my mind's running back this like parties that we did. Like it was, I'm thankful for my mom for like really, really making me scared of drinking and doing stupid shit. Because in high school parties I went to, like, and I participated in a lot of the drinking and the activities, man. Like, if you really think about it, like, it's some alarming shit that we used to go down.
And it used to be totally okay.
It was okay.
And it was like, no, do it.
Yeah, it was like, do it, dog. Like,
Or you're a pussy.
yeah.
And it's weird how there's that culture. It's really weird. Like, not only is there a rape culture where women are like encouraged to be victimized by men, but like men are
Encouraging other men.
emasculated if they don't participate. And then you wind up with a lot like, oh man, it gets deep because you wind up with like a lot of guys who it's like they don't know how to approach women because the only way they've ever gotten an example for it is through what's essentially sexual assault or sexual coercion. That's the only male role models they have in their life. That's how they get sex. So these men don't feel comfortable with that. So they just flat out don't know what to do.
That and just how if a woman rejects you, just the behavior towards them is, man, it's mind-boggling.
Oh yeah, and like some guys do not know how to handle any of that with grace at all.
No.
But like at the same time, I will say personally from my experience, and I'm sure you as the sexy motherfucker that you are have experienced this, women do not take rejection very well at all. Like I'm sure you've been approached and had women looking at you like, what the fuck
There was
do you
a
mean
point.
no?
There was a point in my life where I told myself that I was in a relationship. But I wasn't in a relationship. It was just easier to avoid confrontation or just avoid. That's why there was a point in my life, like when I was 21, 22, I would go to Vegas and have a blast. I'm shirtless at pool parties. As I got 23, 24, like with my business, with things. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say I'm a perfect kid. Like I had fun.
Yeah.
I
would expect so. If I looked half as good as you do, I would have fucking ran through half of Las Vegas while I was up there. I get it.
No, that's why you get STDs, dog.
No, hey, rubber up.
No, man. Man. No, woman, because man, it's. I remember one time when I worked at a one spot. I'm not gonna drop no names or spaces. This girl who I always eyed, but I've always kept distance because it's not worth it. Temptation is everywhere, but it's not worth it. We were about to get down to business, and this fucked with my head big time. Like this really ruined my head. She was like, "Oh, you're a model," and I was like, "Oh," like it psychologically ruined my moment because like
that's why she was into it.
Yeah.
It sucks being objectified, huh?
But then me, I was like, damn, like I really like it really put me in a different pair of shoes. And it really made me change my whole ideology of certain things to a point where I don't really I'm comfortable. There's moments where I'm not comfortable being shirtless in public anymore because the objectification of it all. Like it's
I get that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I get
I
that.
understand it.
No, like I'm sure like I've never had abs and muscles like
Yeah.
that, so I've never known what that is. I'm sure there's a time limit on how that is fun for a
It's
certain
fun.
while. But like the thing is like if you're just some fucking bro bag, what's up, man? Like it's probably fine for the rest of your life. You're probably
Yes.
good. But like you're inquisitive, you're clever, you're an artist, you're
There's a lot
asking
that goes
questions
into
at a
it.
certain
Yeah.
point, and then you're starting to look back like, why
Damn.
did I do
No,
that?
and there was
that's
a
a
lot-
dangerous
oh, yeah,
question.
no, because you get to the aspect of why did I do certain things. It's like I didn't know no better, or I knew better, but it was like, I'm gonna get away with this because like fuck yeah, I'm gonna take. This is who I am. This is what I'm gonna take. I'm gonna enjoy this. I've done this. I work for this, and if she's calling it, we're both sober, and if she's aware of what's going on, and we're both here at the same time, like you're here, I'm here. We both spoke about it, like this is what's going down, and so be it. But then as I got older, it was like, man, I can't do that no more because
There's got to be something else to it.
there has to be yeah. And then subconsciously too, like it put me in a position where emotionally I wasn't emotionally stable anymore.
Oh, I totally get that.
Yeah, I was not emotionally stable. It was bad. I was in a very dark space because I was like, yo, I'm sleeping around with women. I'm enjoying this time of my life, but there's like this emotional disconnection from every woman I'm around.
Oh, I totally get that. And it's
Yeah.
like, I went through a phase back in when I was in college where, like, when I was at PCC a few years back, because, like, I graduated high school a year early. So I was, like, 16 when I first started at PCC, you know what I mean?
Damn.
So, like, a 16, 17-year-old kid on a college campus, you know, I'm falling into all of the wrong crowds very quick just because that's who's down to hang out with a
Adolescence.
16, 17-year-old. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? I'm fucking naive. But I wound up selling coke for this much older lady while I was in school for a couple years. And, like, that got me hooked. And it also, when you have a steady stream of cocaine, you really, really quickly learn that what you're talking about there. Like that if you're just going through it and around,
Yeah.
you quickly realize there's like a layer of detachment that builds. And it's not just there with the women that you have had and you
It's
encounter
with
with. It
every
starts to be
woman.
there with every woman. And that's a fucking
That's the
bad
bad
thing.
part, yep.
Because you wind up commodifying just the nature of a male to female relationship. And that
Yeah.
can be fucking traumatic.
No, I'm not gonna sit here and say I haven't dealt with the trauma of my past because
Yeah.
there's relationships that for me are very not hard to amend, but there's some psychological detachment that me myself, the individual, have to really sit here and conversate with myself and really say what is my intention with this person? Where am I at mentally? Where am I physically? Where am I spiritually? And how do I make sure that me myself I stay in a pure state at all times?
I feel that heavy.
Because it's we're I mean, I don't want to use an excuse as we're men.
Don't worry.
I don't want to use an excuse because it's not. We need to be fully aware and responsible of our actions. But it's like, yo, man, come on, like wake up. Like, what are you doing? And that's why I remember certain times with my friends, we'd go to the gym and I'm like, yo, where's your head at? Like where
Are you here to work out? Are you here to look at the hot chicks that are here? Are you
'Cause it's
here,
they're
are you
there.
here just to get sexy? Or are you here to actually get fit?
Because
Yeah.
fit is healthy. Fitness is not just how you look. It's more importantly everything else that comes with
Oh
it.
yeah.
At the same time, it's like mentally check yourself. And there's times where like I'm not gonna lie, times to this day where I still have to be like, cool, check yourself. Check yourself. Hey, check yourself.
And I mean, it is no insult to you that I'm pretty sure you'll have those moments where you have to check yourself well until you're into your old age. You know what I
Shit,
mean? Because
probably.
that's kind of just human nature.
Yeah,
and like
it's human nature.
that detail about like there is a certain level of like just because I'm a man, it just like there's this culture that's built
Yeah.
around that, and there's like through the media that we get fed, there's like a certain thing that gets told to us, like what like masculinity means and what like the dynamics of male masculinity in a relationship means, and like a lot of that is nonsense,
It's
and a lot of that is super toxic. So a lot of like coming of age is like unlearning all these toxic fucking patterns that you're taught through media and through your own parents who grew up in the system without the internet, without the
Same
ability
here.
to like wake up.
Yeah,
you know
I
what
had
mean?
to talk to my mom and break it down to her. It's like, yo, this is not how you're supposed to do things.
Yeah, like I never got properly taught consent by either of my parents, which is
No.
ridiculous because they're both just like,
Ooh,
so
that's true.
over the top and liberal. And like, I mean, my dad,
My
it makes
pa-
sense that he wouldn't have
yeah.
topped on that because my dad's consent does not matter to that man. But like, my mom is like a liberal, smart woman, and she
know
never
what?
really gave me the consent conversation as a kid. And I'm sure
Nah.
most people's parents don't. And it's like,
Now
but
that I
one
think about it, there's never been the consent. My mom and dad never really.
you had to learn that on your own terms
Yeah.
as an adult, right? And it's like,
Yeah.
okay, so then like, what if you were legally responsible for every decision you made until you fucking learned that for yourself? It's a dangerous fucking slope all of a sudden. And it's
Damn.
like, so like, I don't know. When I look at a culture where a lot of these young men are doing stupid shit like that, it's like, what are we teaching them? And how are we going to punish them for the dumb shit they got taught by their dumb parents when we're letting their dumb parents have them and not forcing them to teach them certain shit? Like, it's fine.
Yeah.
The system's fucking corrupted in a lot of ways. And like, man. But yeah, like there's definitely a degree of like manhood just being weird and like
Manhood is
behind
weird.
stuff. But like, because like, when you're talking about like there's a certain pressure of like, if someone's interested in you, you should be doing it. But like there's a certain layer where it's like, what kind of pussy doesn't just take what's given to him?
Yeah.
Like if she's offering, like what am I not gonna fuck? Like there's a part of your brain that's
Yeah.
hitting that note, you know what I mean? And I feel like that is like the root of like where masculinity gets toxic, is like if it's offered, why shouldn't I?
And
That's a dangerous fucking.
It
Yeah,
is.
that's super scary.
It is, because then it goes back to like you as an individual. It's like how, and it's the truth. It's like it's in our innate nature to mate. It's what you do.
And sadly, for a lot of people, they don't really have the capacity to think very far past their innate natures.
No.
And they can delude themselves
Shit.
very far past their innate nature. So they can
Hey.
think that their job and all this stuff they're doing is for X, Y, Z, all these other reasons. But at the bottom of the day, I'd say 75% of the men that are on this earth are doing everything they do from the time they wake up to the time they go to bed in order to get women, period.
It's whether subconsciously or not consciously aware of it.
I'd
It's the
say
truth.
subconsciously if I'm saying
It's- no,
75%.
there's a subconscious nature as to why we do certain things. Even
Or get whoever they're trying to have sex
Yeah.
with. LGBTQ representation there. I'm not trying to say the whole
no,
ministry.
you good. Shut up. No, you're absolutely right. Because there's motives. Everything is a motive.
And sex is one of the biggest ones
Sex,
for a
I
lot
mean,
of people.
Yeah.
I mean,
Unfortunately.
genetically.
no, it's the reality.
Yeah.
It's there's times where like I'll tell my I'm not gonna say her name. Where it was like, yo, like we were young, we were in high school, and I said, look, if worse comes to worse, if your physique, your features, you're 6'1", I'm 6'1", mate, have kids, superstar athletes. The idea of genetic pool, creating that too.
On some level, when you're really into a situation, there's a part of you that's thinking in those terms. It's thinking like, do my genetics click with theirs in a way that I think is going to turn out well? Whether you're subconsciously thinking that or not is there. And it's weird. That's just how we're programmed.
That is true.
It's
Yeah.
a propagation
To
thing.
think about it, yeah.
And statistically speaking, if you find yourself more attracted to people that don't look like you, there's actually a genetic reason for that too.
Why is that?
It's because, so if someone doesn't look like you, it means they're probably from a different part of the planet than you, right?
Yeah.
So there's probably the most genetic difference between the two of you. So there's the most build up for like being able to fight against diseases spread out between the two of you because your ancestral histories have dealt with so many different diseases
shit.
between them.
So you could break a genetic code.
Yeah, but the thing is like the healthiest babies are the babies with parents from multiple ethnicities.
Because it's bringing
Because they have
genetics
multiple,
into it.
other genetics. They have more immunities from more different areas of the globe. So the healthiest children are always the ones with the genetic diversity in their
Oh shit!
and their
I
genes.
learned
So
something
so if
today.
you find yourself naturally attracted to people that don't look like you, and a lot of people would call this fetishization of someone or something like that. If like a lot of people find themselves specifically attracted to like a certain.
I wouldn't
ethnic
consider
group,
that a
whatever.
fetish.
But some people do though. But all I'm saying is like there is a genetic reason for that. Is because we're programmed to want to have healthy, long living children, and a direct road to approaching that is like if you have kids with someone who's genetically as different from you as possible, you're more likely to have a healthy, long living child.
So not all genetic programming is bad.
I mean, if the genetic programming is encouraging global diversification, where there just aren't races at a certain point because we all kind of mold together, that's not super a bad idea. But that's going to take tens of thousands of years, and a lot of people would call that like white genocide, and those are idiots. So it's a dangerous topic.
I don't think we're. Oh, idea. Yeah, that's a whole nother topic of discussion, man. Fuck. No, but I think because even the whole topic right now with abortion, I think it's there's I'm reading this. This could be wrong because it was on Twitter and stuff. But they were saying that apparently going back to check your resources that people are saying that rape isn't like there's nothing a woman should be able to do about it. That's ultimately what I was reading. It's like like what are you gonna like people were like there I don't know if
What
these
does
were
that even
true, but they
mean?
were saying that if a woman's in that position, she should just enjoy it. And I'm
I've
like,
seen that argument made
Yeah,
yeah,
before, where like it's already happening. You might as
it's
well
like
find some
no,
enjoyment in it.
like
It's like,
this, you
okay,
like
can't.
no.
You can't tell a woman or even a man because I'm pretty men get raped, right?
oh yeah,
Can men
Yeah.
get raped? Men can get raped, can they? Yeah,
oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, can
it
they?
happens all the time. That's what like prison movies threaten constantly.
Oh, that's true. Prison movies. But no, it's like how does a man or how does anybody tell a person who is in the midst of something they don't want to do
Very
or not do?
traumatic.
It's a very dramatic. It's especially for women. Sex is so different between men and women.
I mean,
We could agree upon that.
yeah, if we're talking consensual sex, I think when it comes to rape, you're being forced to do something you're not consenting to. You're being used for someone else's power
Well,
and
I guess
sexuality. I feel like that's gonna be dirty, no matter who's doing
yeah.
it, no
Well,
matter
I
who's
mean,
it being done to. But it's
outside
not
of the
like,
rape.
okay,
Like, well, I mean, I should have said this. So, besides rape,
yeah. Oh, then yeah, there's definitely
there's
a
different
difference to how
there's
sex is.
sex
Yeah,
is.
so
But
like,
well, obviously, when it comes down to rape,
the act itself, I don't think has a huge difference in how much pain it is. But I feel you on that. Like women have a certain
yes,
difference to their sexuality where it's like an allowance into,
yes,
and like having that stolen from them, having the right to
yes,
allow into is taken from them in that moment is a huge
there's a
trauma, and
huge
that's
trauma.
that's
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 what I was
very
getting at.
different. Yeah.
So now, if you know that, now you're telling somebody. Now you're saying that if a woman is being raped, to enjoy it when it takes a woman
That's
time
cringy.
I
to
want to
allow.
beat the people who make that argument.
And then it's like scary because it's like, and I'm not trying. It's like a bunch of it's a bunch of old white men and women who are allowing this.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's like how does another woman tell a woman like, yo, like abortion, you should not be allowed to abort your kid. Like I get it, like I understand, like it's a fetus. Like I get it, it's a living organism. But at the end of the day, taking. I mean,
Yeah, we can give them that,
I
sure.
mean,
But like,
what were you gonna say? What were you gonna say?
I mean, technically, until the baby is born, it is more of a parasite than a living organism on its own right.
Really?
It's like or more
Oh.
of like a tumor because it's not living on its own. It is
Oh, okay, it's
living
living
through
off
your own
somebody.
heartbeat. It is living through your own digestive
Mm.
system. So I'd very much make the argument that that is like an ingrown toenail more than a baby until it comes out of you.
I
Like,
mean,
and that's harsh, and a lot of
that's
people
hard.
would not
Yeah,
like that. But
I get it. Like no, on a science, on a logical science, it's accurate because I mean, it is leaving. It's I mean, at the end of the day, when you have kids, they're gonna live off of you for the rest of your life.
kind of, especially if capitalism keeps this up.
So yeah, you're absolutely. I'm gonna agree with that. I'm gonna agree to disagree and disagree to agree because that is it's not a good way to explain it. But at the end of the time, like it's kind of a accurate like take away the emotions. It's hard to do that,
Mhm.
but that's pretty. Like fuck. That's cool.
Yeah, like, and that's what I think when it comes to arguments about something like abortion, where this is something that's only considered generally if it's really a necessity. Like,
Mhm.
I don't know.
I don't think everybody and any woman should get aborted though.
Hmm?
I don't think everybody and any woman but needs to be have an abortion.
Needs to is a weird concept though,
Yeah.
because like, okay, like if a 12-year-old girl is raped by her
Oh,
uncle and gets pregnant off that, like, does she not need to
She
get an
needs to-
abortion for her own mental health?
Well, I mean, shit, get an abortion.
Yeah, no, like, and I would argue that she needs that, like,
Yes. Okay,
for
I see
her
what you
own
mean.
like care. You know what I mean? Or if there's someone who like physically will die giving birth,
Mm.
if they're forced to give birth, they're being forced to die for the sake of the child that they might not want, and
Damn,
that
that's
happens
true.
a lot, and that's
Okay.
like that's one of the arguments against this. The new abortion rules that just got passed are fucking crazy.
They're
to me.
it's really
'Cause
scary.
It's so easy to get 6 to 9 weeks pregnant without knowing it happened.
Yeah.
Like, I've gotten women 6 to 9 weeks pregnant without knowing that it happened. And then we got an abortion because we're in California.
Oh shit! So you can actually speak on this because you've been through it. I haven't had a pregnancy scare.
I've only had one pregnancy scare in my life, and it wasn't even like
Can we talk? So
it wasn't like super serious. It wasn't even like a girl I was like dating or anything like that. We hooked up and she got knocked up. It was awkward.
Are you guys still somewhat connected?
We talk every so often. She's married now.
I mean, would you be able to answer this? Do you feel like there's some type of trauma she went through post-abortion?
I would definitely say that the experience of getting an abortion for her was traumatic. She said that the way her body felt the next day and the way that she
Yeah.
felt spiritually for about a week over the issue made her feel very uncomfortable, and it was very painful for her. But I would also say is that we were both at the time 19 years old.
Ain't nobody raising
We
kids
were
their age.
nowhere near ready for that. And this was just not a decision that would have been good for either of us. So I know that logically she's happy that she went through with that.
But
And I know that
emotionally.
the children that she's going to wind up having with her husband are going to be very happy that they don't have some awkward older half brother that's from some dude that they never see in LA.
No, it's true because
Like,
that does create
that's a
trauma.
weird family dynamic.
That
cause
creates
to
a lot of
someone.
trauma
So, like,
between the kids and other kids.
so I'm very confident that if I talked to her right now, she'd look back at that as like a good decision, and she'd be like, "Man, I'm glad I never tried to like make that happen because you're a fucking dumbass. Why would I have wanted you to raise a kid?" But I'm willing to admit that I am nowhere near ready to raise a child at this point in my life.
I don't want to raise a kid yet. I mean, I want kids, but not now.
In theory, I want children, but I need to have a child that I feel like I'm ready to take care of
You're not
ain't
there.
here yet.
I don't think so. And it's interesting place we're in because I feel like it's like men are trying to do what they've always done. I guess control everything. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, no, I would agree with that.
I don't think it's fair the abortion laws at all. Um, from a spiritual standpoint, I don't think it's fair. From a personal standpoint, from a human standpoint, from a mental standpoint, it's not fair for us as men. Well, I'm not supporting it, so I'm not gonna say us. But
Well, I mean,
men,
us as men making the laws, like,
yeah, we make the laws.
or us as men, like those of us that are out there fucking championing these laws right now and saying that this is a good thing.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Okay, so us like who don't agree.
The royal us, yeah.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
it's not right. It's not fair because if my sister was to get raped, I don't
Pray to
want to
God,
say
yeah.
that, but it's just I would like, yo, like if you getting, because that's a kid that's not, you don't want.
Yeah, but you just essentially for me it just boils down. I want you to be able to have that choice available to you, and that's why I'm pro-choice, and that's really why it's that simple of a phrase
simple,
for me. It's like
pro-choice.
Yeah.
I am not gonna walk up to most women and say I think you should have an abortion. I don't know if I can make that argument.
No.
And in most scenarios, I don't know if I even 100% would say you should have had that abortion.
That's
to
I
most
like
women,
how
they
you.
get that
I
abortion.
think that's
But,
the
like,
best way to put it.
I think you should have the choice open to you, and I think having some counseling on the matter is probably a good
Yes.
idea. But I think the laws that make you like watch videos of babies and stuff for 20 hours before you get an abortion, there's fucked up
wait.
shit. They make these like teenage girls watch videos
Yep.
of babies and stuff as a
You're
mandatory
gonna
requirement.
You're gonna give them trauma.
Bruh, that's the system is
that's what
designed
they
to
do.
give them trauma as a threat to keep the baby.
But then
Bruh, it's fucked. It's
scary.
fucked. And like, so
I didn't know that.
Yeah, no, the laws
Yeah.
are super ill conceived and designed, and they're really just made in order to take certain decisions out of women's hands. Because like the end all be all is that men don't want the thing that they humped into someone to be able to be that person's decision. They want the rights to what they just created in that person, and it's fucking disgusting. That's how some people think.
She
But
housed it, yet she is nurturing it, and her body is sacrificed for it.
what do you mean?
Like-
Sorry, I think.
Because okay, you know how we talked about the parasite idea, because
Mm-hmm.
even women, because you eat something, you're feeding that baby.
Yeah,
You're
yeah,
giving
exactly. So-
everything, your energy, your every makeup, your
So how is
DNA
it not your
makeup.
decision whether or not to take it out or not? Like, I can go to the doctor right now and ask them to take my tongue out. I can all sorts of shit. You know what I mean? And but it's an elective surgery. I'm allowed to do that, even though it serves no benefit and it probably fuck my life up. I got him shook. We got to have the dialogue.
We got, and that's why like it was cool the fact that this kept rolling, because there's always been conversations I have with people. I'm like, yo, this would have been perfect for a podcast.
Yeah. Oh man, I can't. Yeah.
There's like countless times that you're like, damn, I wish we would have recorded this because it would have been dope for a podcast.
Hi, Jordan.
Mr. Jam Cam, productive culture, just standing there.
Hi, Jordan.
Hi.
Hi, Jordan.
You know, he didn't even wave back hi. Asshole. But shit, man. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. I love you. Oh, he can't hear me. Never mind. Unless we take this part out.
Nope, he'll hear it.
No, you'll hear everything we talked about. Really? Oh,
This dude's trolling Nato so bad right now.
Fuck.
I'm like, no.
No, but yeah. So I think we covered a lot today, dude. How did you feel? Well, how did you feel about this podcast? Because this is our 13th episode. So thank you for being part of this 13th episode.
Hey, thank you for having me.
I don't know what number guest you are. I would say probably like 8.
Yeah, roughly around
what's
like
this?
like 8,
8
7.
and 13.
Hey, appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not. I know
That's
you.
cool.
I know you're not too
'Cause
big
I
on
know.
numerology, but you know about it. But 8 and 13 are good numbers.
13 for sure is a good number. I'm not super familiar with like the
8
knowledge
is
on
like
8 except it's the infinity sign.
symbol.
Yeah,
It's like level of perfection in a sense. No, am I wrong?
something like that.
Yeah, something around those lines.
But
That's why I
like,
like.
yeah,
That's why I
that-
like the number 8.
Ooh. Go ahead. I
You
brought
know,
it up for a
I'm not
reason.
super huge on all the numerology stuff, but
I brought
like
it up for a reason.
patterns matter. Like I'm building me a ladder to Saturn. Like it's important. There's stuff in there.
No, patterns are important because at the end of the day, patterns are what keep us going. Seasons for reasons. Oh, that just came out. Seasons for reasons.
I like that.
No, there's a reason for a season and there's the season for the reason.
Yeah.
And life has a pattern. I think the cycle of life. Watch next in a few months, those trees, that green won't be as green as it is. It's gonna be dark, and then a year from now, it's gonna be the same thing. So I think us as conscious beings, as long as we see patterns, recognize a pattern, and try to go about the pattern differently. Because I think the pattern will always be there, but how we go ahead. You're gonna say something?
I like the point that you're making. My only hesitation with that is we are kind of designed to detect patterns even where
Yes.
there aren't patterns necessarily.
Mm.
So like, and there's actually been a thought experiment done on this where like you can show two people a painting by like Matisse and a painting by Jackson Pollock. And like
Yeah.
a Matisse painting is like you could tell what the image is. Like it's a painting of something. A Jackson Pollock, he's splashing paint on something.
Yeah.
A certain percentage of people will always claim that they see more structure and more pattern in the Jackson Pollock painting.
Really?
Yes. Those certain number of people also tend to be more believing in things like conspiracy theories, tend to be more religious, tend to believe more in things like cryptids and Bigfoot and that kind of stuff. Because they make connections
With
quicker
things.
and without as much second thought and second guessing as other people. And so my only thing when it comes to patterns is we're kind of designed to see patterns in the world and to try and derive meaning out of them. That's how we've evolved this far. You know what I mean? But if you're trying to find the pattern that caused, like, let's say this one bad thing to happen, how good are you at knowing what part of that pattern actually caused that bad thing?
Damn.
You know what I mean? Like some people are gonna look at that, like look at all the things they did, and they're gonna select all of the wrong decisions as the ones that were actually causing the problem. They're gonna be like, "Oh yeah, that salad I ate that day was what caused me to feel sick that night," instead of thinking I shouldn't have smoked that cigarette and done that line of cocaine. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, so it
No, it's
really
true.
depends on how good you are at
And
those,
how honest
at
you wanna be with
detecting those.
yourself.
Yeah, and that's the hardest
How
part.
honest you
for
want to
sure.
be with yourself. But I
Knowledge
think
yourself, right?
no,
Is
hey,
that
no, hey,
where we are?
That was like the perfect way to close off this episode. I think, yeah,
Yeah,
dude.
yeah.
dude.
Let's pretty much end it on that.
You did it for us, Jack. Thank you, man. Because the moment I hit you up, I knew we were gonna have a great episode.
I appreciate you having me, man.
I already knew the dialogue was gonna be great. You and I
Yeah.
have had multiple conversations where I'm like, fuck, I wish we would have had some type of way to record this. I'm pretty sure we're gonna have you back one day.
Hey, I'm always down.
You're the
Yeah.
first person I told that to. Yeah, and I'm pretty sure we're gonna have you back one day. No,
Appreciate that. Next
Yeah.
time I can try and bring Shako. He wasn't able to make it today.
You know what? After you guys, because the project, the next time you guys actually have a big project coming up, or just
We're working on a couple things.
Yeah, I figured you might.
there's gonna be a Flacco lyricology coming out at some point.
Flacco lyric-
Yeah, because Flacco Beats is like my like.
oh,
number
I
one
thought
producer right now,
because
pretty
maybe you're
much.
losing weight.
Oh no, I'm not that Flacco.
Oh, hey, but no, so let us know.
Pretty boy Gordo.
Pretty boy Gordo. Oh yeah, now you're speaking Spanish, huh? Let us know let us know. Obviously we know, but where can we find your music? And where can we find you social media wise? And you're in Pomona, so we all know that. But give us a little rundown real quick of all that stuff.
As far as finding my music, you can always find me just looking up The Thought. It's what's here on the t-shirt, the THOUGHT, not like that hoe over there. If you want to find me on Instagram, it's The Thought Here, not The Thought There, not the though there, it's The Thought Here. There's also an Anthrolyricology IG if you want to follow it, but also please do follow Black Noise, the collective I'm part of. Our squad is ridiculous, and we try to show as much love as we can for the IE. And in the next couple years, we're gonna really
They're really talented motherfuckers.
shout out to Mosen Rav Zensol, Jay Rilla, Shaco Spiel. You already know.
Fuck J Rilla. Fuck. Not to mean it like that.
No, but like, oh yeah, fuck, he's on there too.
Damn, I forget. Damn, bro.
I'm going crazy.
Jay Rilla is some
crazy.
Jay Rilla, he's a gorilla.
Bruh, he's the realest gorilla in the world, man. That dude is like West Coast as it comes as far as his sound, and I really appreciate him for that.
But the way he articulates when he wants to get vocally,
Oh yeah.
that shit's spooky. But I think we're good because I know we're probably gonna keep talking. So I think we wrapped it up. You can find me. I am New Age Takeover, New Age Athletics for fitness, health, and all that good stuff. I'm gonna have my homie Vector close it off.
All right.
Actually, just real quick before you close it out, just on the note of him being a personal trainer, I was at like almost 385 pounds when I started working out with this dude.
I do this,
and
dog.
I am currently down to like 290 right now.
I do it. Damn.
Yeah. No, we
Congratulations.
down there now. Like I'm almost a
Congratulations.
full bill down. So it's like
I do this, dog.
me and him haven't been working out as much since I hurt my knee, but like he really helped set me on the path to losing that kind of weight. So
That's all I wanna do.
just want to put that out there. So,
Oh, wait.
sorry.
Yeah, and on that note too.
I do this, man.
Been working out with him for a year.
Hey,
When
you
I
are too.
when I first like late March.
Man, this is really
Like
cool.
I
This is
weighed
really cool. Like, you really
I weighed almost 200 pounds, and then
no one knew that. He didn't look like he weighed 200 pounds.
He helped me get back to like around like 150 at the moment.
Jesus.
Yeah.
I haven't weighed 150 since 4th grade.
And now I'm trying to do with Vector, we're trying to get some muscle mass on this guy. He's starting to get a chest, and I'm trying to make him beach ready. And this guy, and give him about another year, he'll be beach ready. I don't think he likes the beach though.
But yeah,
Really? I'm not a beach guy, yeah.
Knew it.
Yeah, he knows me.
Okay, let's end it before we go on a tangent.
But yeah, on a short note, you can find us on Untapped Hip Hop through our social media, such as Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat. And if you want to get your podcast services, go ahead and hit up Productive Culture and let them know that KOS sent you, and you'll get your first episode free.
Free. Man, we got to do better. That's it.
Yeah.
Peace, love, happiness.
Peace.
All right. You're still doing this funny face.